Sometimes they win because
sometimes they win when their draft doesn't. When we were like, yeah, they can't take this game late, and then they just take it late anyway. Like there was one at the summit when they were playing with when they picked like OD Timbersaw cores, and they were struggling super hard. We're like, man, if this game goes late game, they're gonna struggle. You know, they're playing versus like heavy BKB cores, blah blah blah. Somehow it's like 65 minutes in, and they're still making the fights happen. Like these guys are team fight specialists as well in their own manner.
Yeah, that's the thing great about Dota. A same team plays a same set of lineups, but because of different item selections, the result becomes different. Like every small decision and every small little item change is very, very big in the game.
Okay, keep our eyes on it. The draft is just moments away. Now, Mr. EG on the end there. Yes. Did that RTZ interview fill you with confidence? Is that where this prediction came from?
It was just standard Artur. I mean, that's what he's like. I like that about him. He's like that pretty much all the time. He's very laid-back guy, and I think that kind of stability and Universe is nice stable guy. Zai is as well.
He's an emotional guy. Like, you call him a laid-back?
Who?
RTZ.
No, he's not. He's chill.
He's a rager.
How is he not? He's chill,
He's
dude.
super
Hang out
emotional.
with the guy. He's super chilled out.
Super chill until
I mean, a
the Dota
rager in
starts
games is
getting-
different.
Yeah, until the
That's
Dota
pub games as
until
well.
the Dota starts.
Yeah, once the Dota starts, he's all action, but he's a chill guy normally.
He gets tilted from Astral just from hearing it across the map, dude.
Yes, that's true. But I think they're all nice guys. Like I think it would be easy to be on a team with those guys. So
Who would you call like a mean person then?
on any team,
Yeah.
Just throwing him under the bus there.
I don't want to name any names.
Machine.
I wanted
say
it.
Machine.
I wanted it.
But being mean might be a good thing.
Can be.
Yeah, you need someone, like I said, you need someone to tell you, don't do that. Come back. We need you to do this.
Yeah, you need that commanding voice.
Fair enough.
I mean,
I'd be scared of Puppy if he was my captain.
Okay.
I'd be scared of Puppy.
he'd keep you in line.
Yeah.
That's fair.
The Puppy Pyrian synergy.
We're back.
What a hat.
We're actually back to SD first pick, even
Get
from this
it.
team.
Oh, it's Moose. Moose dad.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see what you did there.
Yeah, look at that.
I see. Still, the draft is underway. To recap, bye-bye Bat
Oh.
and bye-bye Timber.
And
alongside
Drow
that,
and
Drow
Axe.
and
man.
Axe.
I was gonna say the Timber was mostly because of the SD pick. Like when you want to open with an illusion-based lineup, Timber is really good at that, dealing with that. And Wings responds with a Witch Doctor. How effective is the cast against the disruption illusions? Do you think they picked Witch Doctor because of that?
That's actually
Usually we see the Warlock pick. I think EG does it a lot because of the
We've
Fatal
seen that.
Bonds.
Yeah, I mean, it's a safe pick, right? It gives you like a bit extra sustain, more physical damage.
But you don't kill the illusions as
don't
quick
kill
as
the
a Warlock.
illusions.
Well, we'll see, but like you said, it's really good in the lane. And they have some sort of like a massive heal combination.
Yeah,
going with.
Witch Doctor and Jug.
Yeah.
Yep.
They need an Omni Knight as well. Get some more heal in there. Come on.
Survivability.
Might hint into like maybe a push strat, like just early predictions, because just by looking at the first two heroes, it gives you a clear idea of what the team has already planned, against their opponent.
So do you think it would be good to do that kind of push strat into an Alk though? Like I kind of feel like
That's precisely why you want to push against Alk. You don't want a game to draw late, but I see your point.
He's going to get all that
pushing
moolah.
into acid spray is difficult,
Yeah.
but you do have like the healing ward for that.
Yep, true.
And then they've run the Juggernaut in like both positions. Like mid lane, obviously you can have easy kill potential on Alk. If he's in a bad position, you just spin on him and you can almost kill him just with that.
Well, we did get a prime example of when Alk comes online in our previous game, right? We got a good demonstration of that, perhaps EG a little inspired, a little spurred on. I want to also highlight that we still haven't seen, like, it was the most common place was Magi throughout the entirety of the group stages, and we have yet to see it slip through the draft since.
In the second phase, usually teams, they have a lot of time to prepare against their opponents, and they want to do something that you don't expect. So that might be one of the few reasons behind not going for the usual picks.
The basics.
Yeah. But I would say mostly it's because they probably had something already in mind, like they already prepared something.
Is that an Ursa ban? I can't quite see it.
is.
Yes. Versus the Alchemist, it just makes sense. It's a very good hero throughout most of the stages versus Alch. Well, until like late game, obviously, but in the laning phase, you kind of just dominate him if you're matched up versus him.
What do you think about if Wings goes for too much heal, then EG goes for the Ancient Apparition, the Iceman pick?
With Shadow Demon though, right?
Yeah, it's a bit terrible.
It's a bit terrible,
but
yeah.
it'll be really good against those kind of heal strats. And I think EG picked it was it Summit? I think it was against Alk. They picked Ancient Apparition against Alk to stop the regen.
Yeah, that's very good against Alk, but yeah.
I think those were OG?
Oh, yeah, that was OG actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was OG.
Well, you think they take it themselves as like a block pick sort of thing?
Yeah, but like Fogg mentioned, it doesn't really work with SD. It's pretty bad with that dual support. Sometimes you don't only consider, this hero is really good against the opponent, but you need to think about, how does it work
How do we lane this?
with our lanes. So Wings, they're banning out again offlaner.
Sanking,
It's very difficult to deal with, like all those pesky pressure lanes, ogre, sanking. Because you have a Juggernaut, you have a melee core. You don't want to deal with that kind of harass in the lane.
They're removing all of that abuse. Have Wings shown their hand yet, Winter, or is it still very close to their chest?
It still comes down to the second phase. What do they choose to go for in the third and fourth pick?
Morphling ban?
Yep, the count, like one of the better heroes against Alchemist. Was it Newbie that did mid morphling? Yeah, they did mid morphling against Alchemist. You have you step morph, so you have a lot of armor, you have a lot of damage. So when he casts the acid in the lane, you deny the creeps.
I think they had a Drow as well too.
Maybe, but
still.
still very open-ended draft. Like doesn't really seem anything. It's a very good offlaner. I think against Alchemist because you need to pressure him. You don't want an offlaner that farms too much. You want an offlaner. Oh, great, guys! I have my level 6. I'm going to run into the jungle, contest the stacks, kill the Alch.
Gives you like a little bit of a pair with the Witch Doctor too. We used to see like the Skywrath combo and everything, like Death Ward with if somebody's inside of the cogs.
That's
It's a very easy way to isolate and just burst somebody down quickly.
Now, Clockwork was a bit of a polarizing pick in the group stage as well, didn't we? We saw some incredibly strong Clockworks and some.
There's something I want to talk about. I saw Crit playing a support Alchemist just a few days ago in a pub.
Okay.
And SD Alchemist, if you really want to do like support Alchemist, SD support to start with the disrupt and into the stun.
Into the stun?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And with Soul Catcher and everything.
I just saw him playing that in a. It wasn't a few days ago. Actually, it was before my flight to Boston.
Do you think it might be a bit of a...
I don't know. It's just like
baiting them in here and then making them able to switcheroo?
When you open up a draft with Alchemist, it's like it's either you are trying to mislead the enemy into thinking you are trying to go for this ultra late game, and then you pick the Alchemist for a support position, which could be played really aggressively in the early game. So it might be a chance that will happen.
Interesting.
Definitely a possibility.
I like that.
Yeah.
Do you feel that EG against a team like Wings have to do drafting like that, where they're kind of next leveling it a bit?
Okay, maybe
Tree?
no. Tree is their
Maybe not.
secondary support right now. A defensive support, like I mentioned, when you pick Alchemist, you're going to expect a lot of pressure from the opponent. So having the living armor and the nature skies to run around to place wards and alleviate the pressure, especially the smoke. The Trian's job here is to make sure that he breaks the smoke because the enemy is going to smoke and try to contest the farm, and him standing around being invis to break the smoke, or even just to die for it is a good thing. Yeah,
it's a very like Wings-esque thing at like the 4 to 8 minute mark is their crucial time to make the movements with the supports toward the offlane usually.
And not only that, like Trian has a disable that goes through magic immunity, so he can actually stop the Juggernaut from spinning TPing. So all in all, it's a very very strategical pick for EG here, getting the Trian protector.
Gives them like disruption can be used in a defensive or aggressive manner. Tree can kind of be like that defensive or aggressive hero in kind of a way too.
Kind of mostly defensive.
Mostly defensive though, yeah.
So the Sunstrike with the Clockwork, pretty good combo there.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
So basically, I said that you will see their hand right now. Nothing too special. Like it's just like very straightforward. They have a very good combo with the Clockwork and very good kill lanes. Like Witch Doctor cast into Sunstrike, Clockwork trapping the supports if he catches out the support in the cogs. Good lanes, just good lanes right now.
Good lanes and Wing.
Very, very safe picks for sure. Nothing like too crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing with single limbs. Teams tend to be safe.
Yeah. Perhaps, surely though, if you are the team to take that risk, to take that gamble, you can find rewards.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sometimes you say this team is actually playing not to lose. They're not playing to win because it's single elite.
That was like a poem.
Yeah,
that was nice. I like that.
Thank you.
Oh god, just so much insight.
Iceman.
I love it. The Iceman. This is your new name, by the way. Screw Winter. It is now Channel It Bin Iceman.
So So EG, RTZ Lifestealer. I feel like that's we saw it like 3 or more games or 4 games during the group stages for them.
I'm a little worried about the Lifestealer though. He has a pretty bad matchup against in the team fights Clockwork plus Witch Doctor because of the Death Ward.
The Death Ward.
You can get trapped in the cogs and you can die to the Death Ward.
They have a lot of ways to just kite him around too. Like if you could open wound Juggernaut, he just spins away. They have a lot of different
Not sure
heal
if I
too.
like this here too much for EG, but then again, because you have a mid Alchemist, you need a carry that's more active. He can get a 1 item or a small item or 2 and join his team to fight.
That's a happy fan. He has a Wings logo and a Juggernaut mask, and he's got the pick as well.
Yep.
Happy fans all around.
I mean, for EG right now, the last pick, they probably need a vehicle for the Lifestealer to gank. So like still Nyx? Oh, okay, no Nyx.
You could do Invis Tree where he creeps up on someone.
Yeah, that is actually true. Something that teams don't, do a lot, but I know PPD uses that a lot when he was back on this team. So they ban out the Nyx and for EG. They want to ban out a secondary support. Oh, there's a lot of good options here.
So Wings aren't going to be too hamstrung by any ban here.
I mean, they've got a really good, solid lineup. Like the Wings lineup is good. You know, they've got.
They could still maybe do AA on
They
Wings.
could, yeah.
For the Alchemist.
Yeah, they actually could because they have Clockwork. And
They have
they
Clock, good
AA plus the Sunstrike would mean that anyone gets hook-shotted is pretty much dead unless you have a Disrupt.
Yeah, it seems pretty good.
Also, the Cogs plus the AA, the Cold Feet would work
It's
really
really,
well
really
as
good.
well.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really roam. Oh, there goes the
So
AA.
they go for the Slaughter. That's just like kind of a, Slaughter
Okay.
Lifestealer
Iceman,
vehicle.
maybe Iceman pick, Winter Wyvern. Pretty good against Lifestealer and Slaughter combo.
And the Lifestealer, I mean, the Slaughter has been so big, I think, already. We've seen a lot of good Slaughters in the tournament. He's great for that reinitiation. They need something to jump, and I think Slaughter's what you need for that, for sure.
Just one more left then.
Yep, the 4-0, like I mentioned. Maybe the Wyvern would be, the Cold Embrace would be great against the Lifestealer, Slaughter. They
Wyvern
need,
seems interesting, yeah.
something like that. Or maybe an SB. Do you like an SB here so you can actually disable the Lifestealer through his... Whoa, they're going... That's the...
That's a shame.
So they go for more
see
push.
The last pick
Yeah.
there is a push strat. Like they open up with a push strat and then they waited till the last pick.
Right to the end.
Yeah.
So I said there was no curveballs, and now Shadow Shaman comes out.
The push strat.
The push strat.
Fuck, we haven't seen him almost at all.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
think we
the
have.
last time I saw him.
Wards,
Hardly
they
seen
have a lot of physical damage. The wards and the death ward against the Lifestealer in teamfights, that is actually
Yeah,
really, really
it's
good.
clever. Very
Yeah.
clever.
Look at this. There's just smiles across the desk as the last pick comes in from Wings. It's the first of a best of 3. One of these teams is going home. I have to keep reminding you, this $3 million Dota major, and one of EG and Wings is going home by the end of this series. The first of the series begins now, and it's your casters to guide you through all of the action. Millennium Capitalist, you better enjoy this one.
Oh, Alex, we certainly will. A best of 3 single elimination. One team, TI5 champions, led by 2-time major winner Crit, facing up against the reigning TI champions. Both seemingly should be the most confident they should ever be, right, Ben? But haven't both of these teams been brought down to earth recently by the group stage? Both EG and Wings got that check.
Yeah, they're right in the middle there with the second and the third seed, so not falling too far, but not coming out on top. Did you wear blue today on purpose?
I did not, Ben. Did you wear blue on purpose?
No, I think it's maybe our subconscious.
All right, we'll
telling
see in the
us.
bias in the cast what happens, Ben. Wings and Evil Geniuses, certainly no short of fans on either side, but declaring bias aside here, who won the draft, Ben?
Alchemist's first pick is a little bit risky, and it seems like Wings look to punish it with a well-disguised push with a decent amount of late game, just in case it doesn't go all their way. They didn't all in for it, so I like that a lot. So I say Wings.
Just because of the fact that, I mean, there wasn't really any other, could you think of another support hero that give you the same kind of surprise push than Shadow Shaman, a hero that's been long out of the meta for quite some time?
I don't think so, but they could have gone the other route, which is jungling, playing greedy, and then hoping to outscale the Alchemist, because Alchemist plus Lifestealer isn't the most formidable late game. You just have to survive like the 20 to 40 minute period of the game.
So presumably we're going to see a game plan of Wings of playing very single target pick-off heavy, leading with initiation, being able to find that numbers advantage, and then being able to push from there with the Shadow Shaman. What's Evil Genius's game plan? Because they've got some fighting heroes of their own, right?
Stall with Tree. Kind of very similar to what we saw IG Vitality do versus the versus Virtus Pro. Try and draw the game out until Alchemist gets really, really strong. But the problem is, I think the Shadow Shaman is a trump card to the Treant Protector. Treant Protector is good against slow and steady tower damage. You want to be able to heal up over minutes, but Shadow Shaman Ward is just really good single target, focus on tower, no chance of living armor heal if it's dead.
He's the epitome of an all-in push, right? A full committal, we're taking this tower right here, right now.
Yeah, just one hero though. Their whole lineup isn't really based around that though.
Yeah. The rest of Evil Geniuses, they do have some fighting heroes of their own. Lifestealer and Slardar, you said try and delay as much as possible, right? But what about that Lifestealer Slardar? When do they really come online? When is their point going to be?
Generally, whenever the Lifestealer gets Echo Saber Armlet, or
Echo Saber Armlet.
more likely than not, Slardar gets his Blink Dagger.
Yeah, the Blink Dagger's the most important thing here, right? So in that case, how do Evil Geniuses, how do they ensure we actually get a Blink Dagger from the Slardar in time?
A tree makes all your lanes stronger.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're gonna do all these things. Secure Alchemist farm, and win their lanes, and don't lose towers. That seems like a pretty tall task. I guess you want to limit the Shadow Shaman's ability to get to level 6, but they don't have the strongest lanes. Like Shadow Demon plus Lifestealer is okay. Slaughter's not the best laner by himself, so it's going to be a very tough early game from EG. One thing that I didn't particularly like about EG's draft is that they already revealed with Alchemist at the start, which makes me seem like they aren't confident in the way that they're going to win their drafts. And versus Complexity, I think they did lose a lot of their drafts. So instead of just trying to hide anything, just like, okay, this is what we have, this is our strategy, we play it well, we're going to pick it very early on.
Do you think that really plays into Evil Geniuses just recognizing what their own strengths are? Because I've long looked at Evil Geniuses as being one of the more efficient teams on the map. They like to be able to play a little bit greedier. I mean, after all, you look at their offlaner Universe, he is one of the more stable offlaners out there, but he is not the most aggressive. He is not necessarily someone who will play super sacrificial. As we saw from the stats earlier, Faith Beyond is the one who will always play much more aggressive, is willing to die to create space or initiations or openings for his team. So do you think that plays into that mindset that EG are just like, we're just going to try and out-efficiency them, and no hero is better at it than Alchemist? So in a way, we put them on a timer, right?
I would agree. I think for the most part that's true. The only thing that I think is a little bit strange is that it's their mid player that's the Alchemist player. So and Sumail is widely regarded as the most aggressive by far on Evil Geniuses. So if he's not creating space, there's going to be not that many people creating space. Slaughter, played by Universe, isn't over aggressive, I would say. So I just worry that they might not have enough people running around the map doing stuff.
What about laning fights wise? Because I want to go back to this Slaughter. Is his Blink Dagger so essential? Do they have to run a dual lane with the Train Protector? Because Shadow Shaman, he is, we haven't seen him much, but he is a terror against solo offlaners, right? With that Shackles?
They can do what IG again did, is sack the Train Protector. If he dies, not the biggest deal. He can still Living Armor tower up as long as it doesn't die, and have the Slaughter Iron Talent. But then again, that doesn't really seem like their style. They like contesting their lanes, and the Universe doesn't AFK jungle that often. Although I do see him get Iron Talent a fair amount.
All right, Ben, I wasn't going to do this on the main stage.
Predictions?
But, oh, yeah, predictions time. Yeah, we've solved enough. Let's go. Total number of player deaths at game end.
We can let the crowd choose.
You want to get on in this? 0? What is that? That's not an answer. Come on.
No, it's 41 to 55 or 56 plus.
I mean, you're all about stats, Ben. I know you're quite the efficiency man. You're quite the numbers man. What do the numbers tell us here?
I think 56 plus.
56 plus. You think this game is actually going to go late enough for that many kills?
Wings has the highest kill average in Wings has the highest kill average in this tournament, and EG has had the longest game of this tournament. These two factors combined, I'm down with it.
All right, we're ripe for a high amount of kills this game. Player with the most kills at 10 minutes, though.
You don't let the crowd choose, okay?
That's true. Crowd, what do we want to see? Is it Faith Beyond? Clockwork? Oh, well, all right, we're going into the game. Never mind. Starting things off with some early TPs. Arteezy's already going out to his lane, see if he can get himself a nice laning ward. Innocence doing something similar here as he approaches the mid lane, and the rest of Universe and his boys are all going to be following up in the bottom lane. Faith Beyond is already smoked up as well. Wings trying to set up where exactly they're going to be headed to be able to snipe away this Alchemist bounty rune. Of course, we know Evil Genius is already stationed up at the bottom lane, but Shadow's in a good place to be able to stop this smoke, potentially. And he's also a hero that is unlikely to die to this combination. If he gets disrupted, and they try and go for the stun, he can just spin, but maybe they can still surround him enough. They can actually lay this trap down. Shadow's going to be caught and surrounded by two heroes on both sides. He's going to be forced into spin here, but Universe is going to hold off on the stun. They're going to be able to body block him, die right in his face. They're going to be able to hit the stun, and that'll be the first blood. Evil geniuses indeed.
Universe didn't even stun there during the spin, knowing that he would spin.
Yep. They lay that trap out beautifully. They now have presumably the advantage to be able to pick up this bounty rune for the Alchemist. Doesn't look like Wings are going to try and rotate to that bottom lane. They'll give it up to the Alchemist. A 2-time win here for EG, certainly.
Just the start that they need. That was his positioning on Shadow was kind of, he thought it was really good because you're in the fog, so he would pop the smoke, but they went straight down and then straight left. They didn't go diagonally into the jungle, which is kind of what he expected, and it ended up costing him his life.
Universe actually picking up the Iron Talon here, hoping to be able to secure himself bit better farm out of that off-lane position, as his Blink Dagger, as we've said multiple times, is all important. Meanwhile, there's double wards up here at the top lane. Wings actually blocking out that pull hard camp there to be able to deny most of EG's experience until, of course, Crit will quickly sniff that one out.
And on the flip side, we see the Witch Doctor actually get the Observer Ward
Universe
on the
is
bottom lane.
maybe done for here. They could try and follow that up. They're going to eat for the dive. Innocence going to be forced to back out after a couple of tower shots there. Seemed like Shadow. He gave up on that kill relatively early, went back to his lane. Continue to try and get that perfect CS. Meanwhile, Sumail is matched up against Invoker, Blink's Invoker, an Expert Invoker at that. How much pressure is Blink really going to be able to put on this Alchemist who's farming away?
With the Alacrity build, he can actually contest the CS a decent amount. Normally, you have a lot of trouble last hitting against a Quelling Blade Alchemist. But with Exort and Alacrity, I think he can contest fairly easily.
Yeah, quite this huge boost in damage, and he's actually going to be going for the very early Ring of Aquila as well, which will help maybe disrupt Sumail's CS, or at the very least make it so the lane isn't so easily pushed in. Having a last hit under tower right now, which is rather hard. Faith Beyond may be caught here at the top lane. They're going to be able to lead with the disruption, quickly surround him, and Faith Beyond throws Cogs out, but it doesn't matter.
Look at Y in the mid lane, though. He's eyeing that chicken, and it's coming straight down. And at the bottom.
This is big. That Courier's done for it. It tries to go up to the trees, but there's no path available. That is a bottle down, ladies and gentlemen. And Sumail is going to be missing that one.
On top of that, we see Wings already at both runes. No chance of a bounty for him, so Sumail's growth will certainly be stunted a little bit. And on the bottom lane, looks like Ice has invested another Sentry Ward, so he has de-warded EG's Sentry Ward. They had 2 wards blocking that spawn, and now they'll finally be able to pull that Hellbear Smasher camp.
Pulling doesn't seem to be too necessary, though. Universe is full-time Iron Talon jungling with Slardar. That's a little bit of a rarity. Slardar is not the best jungler out there. Most of the time, people try and make that Slardar work in the off-lane. But seeming as Evil Genius is not actually doing much of an aggro duel situation, they're facing up against a Shadow Shaman. It seems like he's just given up on the idea of laning in the beginning, at least.
The trade-off is you get Shadow Shamanist levels, which I think is one of the biggest things that you want to prevent this game, is prevent him from getting his wards down. So now they've finally swapped Train Protector down on bottom, and as you mentioned, Slaughter into the jungle, and it's up to Ice how fast can he get level 6, or can they wrap around on this Train Protector and get a kill into a tower push? That would be ideal for them. And the Invoker pick also kind of works pretty nicely into their push strat too. The Force Spirit is very, very nice. Also, he's early BOT fire, so that also helps when you're trying to put pressure on all the lanes. So
sure.
It's a standard pick for them, but it works very well into their strategy.
Covers a lot of potential gaps that Wings may have against his Evil Genius's lineup. Zai's trying to be as disruptive as possible. Barring that, at least pick up some early experience where he can get those higher levels of living armor. Sumail kind of needs it. Meanwhile, the top lane, they're going to go once again onto Faith Beyond. There goes the paralyzing path. That one's actually going to hurt quite a bit. Crit is in some serious trouble. They're going to be able to run him down quite easily, but Arteezy, he might be able to get Innocence on the other side. Faith Beyond bends the back with the Cogs, but unfortunately, our poor Witch Doctor is still stuck in the trees. Meanwhile, they also at bottom lane managed to get that Treant Protector. So 2 kills end up going the way of Wings with that surprise rotation and still shutting out that off lane.
Yeah, Y knows exactly what EG were trying to do in the top lane, and now that Lifesteal is out of mana and there is a Clarity Ferried over from Crit, and get some good XP out of this lane.
And because the Treant Protector is bottom and they see the Shadow Shaman, or excuse me, the Shadow Demon rather, up there at the top lane, it seems like Wings are going to go for a smoke. Now they hesitate, thinking about wrapping around behind the Treant Protector would certainly be the easier kill. Then they move towards left. Think otherwise of it. The Alchemist still not level 6, but they opt for the easier one instead. Zai is going to be played at the mercy here of 2 Wing support to easily set up with a Sunstrike and a couple of Shadow right clicks. Zai is down for the count, 3-3, 5 minutes in.
They knew their game plan from the start, though. I think they figured that the Treant Protector was going to sack this lane, and he's just died twice already. And most of the times that we've seen Zai die in this tournament, I think we actually counted it up during the group stage. He died like 70 times or something absurd in the 9 games that he played. But most of the times it's there saving his teammates. This game's a little bit different. I guess he's just trying to pump up Alchemist farm by creating space on other sides of the map. But now Universe is back.
Faith Beyond thinking that maybe he can get a kill somewhere here in the jungle. Crit is going to be kind of stuck inside these cogs, and Sunstrike's going to be coming in as well, and Alchemist doesn't even bother trying to help Crit. He's just going to try and do a little bit of ring around the rosy around the trees, but it doesn't work. Sumail, well, he bows his head in unbelievable grief that his support is down, but he says, Worth, I've got more space as the Alchemist. At least that seems to be the EG plan.
And Wing says Worth. They're ahead in net worth at the moment.
Yeah.
Despite the first blood and the bounty rune going Alchemist's way, and things are just starting to get more grim as their supports find their place around the map when it doesn't really seem like there's any good place for them to be.
An invisible tree. Ha! Take it away, that tree, and the tree protector is forced away. It seems like we saw a lot of action in the side lane, so we didn't actually get to watch that mid matchup too much, but it seems like Blink around level 3, level 4 really picked it up in the CS. He just seemed to deny Sumail so much. Sumail started off with an early lead, but he very rapidly started stagnating out, and he's going to have to find the rest of his farm in the jungle, it seems.
And not only the farm too, with 20th and Ice, he was very slow on getting level 6 when they made that smoke. They were considering going on the Alchemist in mid, and because of that, there's just added pressure from EG. Are they going to gank our Alchemist before he's level 6? And now that he's 6 is fine, but they still were kind of unsure whether or not the gank was going to happen on bottom or in the mid. And Ice still getting his levels. He has arcane boots as Shadow Shaman. I've seen far too many Shadow Shamans just get boots and then just feed for the rest of the game, and it looks like he's kind of set up for success here. And even the Shackles and the Sunstrike is a pretty potent combo versus weak supports. And there's just so many different ways that Wings can kill EG, but the Alchemist train is rolling as he just keeps on taking out these stacks over and over.
This really does seem like a lineup that is going to force Evil Geniuses to group up quite a bit. Oh, Innocence managed to snag yet another ward. Evil Geniuses beginning to look a bit blind on the map now, as their only ward is currently that one that is protecting Arteezy's farm up the top lane. But Wings have not gone for that rotation, not at all. Not really needed, right? That bottom lane, they're getting plenty of experience out of it. The Shadow Shaman is almost reaching that level 6 territory. They've already pushed out the off-lane tower. Everything seems to be going pretty well in this stagnant form for Wings in the laning phase.
And a lot of dewarding going all around, giving it to the Alchemist for some extra efficiency. And now Wings kind of unsure about how to tackle that jungle. They know that EG is pretty light on vision in that area, but they don't have any vision of their own. However, Faith Beyond does constantly throw out rocket flares. Why? In the wrong neighborhood.
Yeah, he grabs the illusion rune, but he's quickly going to be gobbled up by a bunch of Evil Geniuses heroes. Living Armor will help protect Crit for now. There is a Sunstrike ready to go. Maybe we'll see Blink try and throw it out to catch him. Crit not going to be stumbling into that one. Will manage to sidestep that one away. So
Ice maybe going for a kill here. He is level 6. Thinking about maybe a easy fork lightning.
Yeah, if he actually gets the wrap around, throws down the wards, gets the shackles, that could be both a tower and a kill. But it seems like Evil Geniuses are just going to give up their mid tower. That's a pretty important tower that's already down by the 10-minute mark.
That's tower number 2, mind you. And this is way earlier than EG would hope for. Like the Shadow Shaman getting level 6 at 8.5 minutes and already taking a tower down. And every 2 minutes is just going to be the same story for them. And EG, their space to farm is slowly getting crushed.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their basic items that's kind of needed, right? Alchemist needs to be able to pick up his armlet, and then his Radiance. We need a Blink Dagger for the Slardar. Lifestealer doesn't really come online too much until he has that vehicle to be able to find a quick initiation onto one hero, and that again comes back down to Universe's farm. It seems like Evil Geniuses will not be ready to fight for quite some time, and it seems like Wings will have free reign of the map to be able to take what objectives they want.
And looking at the top, looks like, well, I just tried to place a sentry ward. It's right next to the observer ward, but they don't actually have vision up that hill. Maybe a flare will scout it out, but they suspect that something's fishy in that area with the way that Y died last time.
I'm kind of waiting for that flare. Okay, not going to be heading up to that area. Either way, Shadow's getting some free damage onto this tier 1, but Evil Geniuses are actually grouped up quite a bit here in the bottom lane. Looks like they're going to run 4 into this safe lane of Wings. Try and catch Ice. Make sure he doesn't get an early Blink Dagger or anything like that. Crit sets it up with the disruption. The TPs are actually going to come in here. Faith Beyond is going to be the leading TP. All ready to support us down, but he managed to catch Arteezy inside of the cogs. Now there's TP in from Y completes, but he can't really stop this raged up Lifestealer, at least not yet anyway. Zai provides a free escape for Arteezy, who actually pops out of that invis to be able to slow down Shadow with the open wounds. Evil Geniuses covering their tracks as they get a support kill and force Wings rotations.
I like the makeshift Nature's Guys onto the Shadow Demon. Kind of, not as good as a Blink, obviously, but still like pretty good in terms of their initiation potential.
Yeah.
And Ice was in a pretty good position. He was like right next to the T1 and not really that close to the fog or the trees, which would have been the angle of attack that EG came from, but that was desperately needed. And now it looks like they're perhaps trying to expand their territory, trying to farm those few camps on the Radiant side of the map so that Alchemist can get his Radiance up as soon as possible. And 11, 12 minutes and counting, and still won't be a relic in sight.
Well, smoke for smoke, it seems. Wings are going to be able to catch Zai, it looks like, or maybe not. He actually gets outside of range of Wings as Ice is unable to get that second disable of Shackles into play. And EG walk away for free. In fact, if they want, they can actually play aggressive now. They've seen two heroes at the top lane. Are they going to try and play aggressive towards bottom? Arteezy's got the Infest ready to go, even if they don't have the Blink Dagger.
They don't have Blink, nor do they have Nature's Guides. It's going to be a very difficult kill.
Nature's Guides, it kind of served as the pseudo Blink, right, to be able to give them those initiations, but...
And Ice might not have to commit his wards onto the top lane, depending on where EG thinks that the rest of the team is. But he will, for the safety. And now, with no one up there, they have to be worried about where exactly EG is. So Ice backed off from the tower, so clearly he expects that they're somewhere in the fog roaming around. But where exactly?
Shadow Shaman seems to work out in so many levels here. It gives them a lot of pushing power, but I think in some ways, more importantly, Wings, they have so much single target pickoff, right, that Evil Geniuses have to naturally group up quite a bit, and this leaves lanes exposed. One hero by himself can go to a lane, push it out with those wards and take a tower, and there's really very little risk there. It's just a support showing up. Even if you try and stop him, the wards may still go down. He may still take that tower, and you're committing considerable resources to stop a push and kill a hero that is ultimately disposable for Wings. Their cores are still farming away.
I completely agree with that. And on top of that, they have a lot of tools that they really haven't used too much that they can kill EG with. So, like, even aside from the Shadow Shaman just showing us one, like the Clockwork, we haven't really seen a hook shot into Sunstrike. There haven't been any opportunities for it, but EG have to play around it and have to group up, as you mentioned, like maybe defensive disruption to save some heroes. They want heroes in front of Sumail so they can pop some smokes just in case they are smoking into their jungle. But Wings are very content with playing around the Mass Serpent Ward cooldown. And all three T1s have been knocked down, whereas EG have yet to get a tower of their own.
Yeah, maybe it's the Shadow Shaman that gives them this patience, but I see this and I see some reminiscences into our previous series where we had IG Vitality very much playing grouped up constantly, and VP made somewhat of a mistake trying to force initiation onto that dire secret shop area, and it turned it into a nasty fight. Here, Wings are just playing way more patient and saying, fine, if you're going to stay grouped up, we'll just play an economy game too. Even if you have an Alchemist, we're still getting all of our mid-game cores online. We're going to hit real hard starting about 18, 20 minutes.
Or now.
You see the smoke up? If they can actually get the right kind of pick, maybe we can see Roshan go their way.
And if nothing else, they will probably be able to get some wards down close to their Ancients. And their cores have also built Greedy, the Midas, which is very common in the Invoker, but a less common pickup is the Iron Talon on the Juggernaut, so he can see it out of his farm. If you're not going for a Battle Fury, and we know that Shadow likes to go Maelstrom a lot,
yeah,
will speed up your farm, and they need it to contest the Alchemist.
Yeah, sure enough, they get some really aggressive wards. I like that ward right behind the tier 2. That gives you a lot more information about incoming rotations than the normal secret shop wards would have given you. So they're going to be able to have perfect information to be able to take this Roshan no problem with the help of the Serpent wards.
And the information that they gleaned there was that there is no Blink Dagger on to the Slark, and they know that they're waiting for that. They need to get like 1 or 2 picks with the Infest Bomb so that they can, ideally on the Invoker, I would say, but he has the Aegis the Immortal. Juggernaut going to be very difficult if he spins in time, but any of the cores would be a sufficient target for the Infest Bomb, and that would just buy them precious minutes with the early game not going exactly the way they wanted it to, and all the objectives going the way of Wings. So 4 objectives down for Wings, and net worth is almost exactly at 0.
I would say even committing that initiation to the Shadow Shaman would be worth if you could stop him from laying down those Serpent Wards if Wings go for another push. But we have Shadow Shaman about to pick up a Blink Dagger of his own if he wants one. He's sitting at 1900 gold.
Yeah, he's just stacking, farming peacefully, and knowing that EG is just not going to do anything. Who's actually going to jump him at this point in time?
Right now, Faith Beyond is covering Shadow's tracks here at the bottom lane as Shadow farms aggressively. Blink is going to be the one to push back that top lane that Evil Geniuses were kind of poking at. They finally have the Radiance here for Sumail. And Blink Dagger is just about to be picked up by Universe, but I'm sure this timing is going to be a bit recognized by Wings. It's 16 minutes into the game. You know that Slardar had an Iron Talon from the get-go. Can't be anticipating a Blink Dagger too late in this game, that's for sure.
Yeah, and with that Observer Ward that you pointed out earlier, if they retreat up to T3, they definitely know it's a smoke. And that ward is pretty hard to deward. And they know that Faith is around there somewhere.
Re-up on the Nature's Skies. But yeah, Faith Beyond with the very early Force Staff probably isn't going to be caught anytime soon. There's the Blink Dagger for Shadow Shaman, so now we can have that real quick jump onto a tower, lay down those Serpent Wards, and there's really not much opportunity for EG to be able to put a stop to that. Because their counter initiation may just come a bit too late. Zai is going to be able to spot out Faith Beyond if he comes into this area. Almost right-clicks him, hold on to it. He's trying to set this trap. Faith Beyond realizes, uh-oh, hey, hold up, I'm stuck here. What's happening? Disruption's going to be laid out. He's going to try and force staff himself out of this one, but he's already been hit by the stun of Universe. Can't get the cogs down in time. He's trapped 2 heroes inside with him, so Evil Geniuses will be able to execute that gank onto the Clockwork. Force staff or no, EG find the pick.
Close timing. The Radiant U scanned right on top of him just to make sure that the Treant Protector was there. But at the end of the day, it's just a Clockwork kill. And Alchemist didn't have to get involved, so that's pretty nice for them. And it should have been the Slardar Blink reveal, although I'm not too sure Wings were able to see it in time. More likely than not, they did. However, two supports are sitting there. They have been scanned out.
Oh, and Universe is going to be able to run into both of them. They're going to be able to get Innocence real quickly. Eyesight's going to be next target. He got the Serpent Wards down. The Overgrowth is going to be able to stop Faith Beyond from being too disruptive. They're trying to finish off Eyesight, but it gets so much done. He basically stole it off Arteezy by getting those disables off. Now Universe has to try and TP away. He will be successful. No disables coming out there. Faith Beyond looking for the +1. They already got the Lifestealer, big win, but unfortunately, he can't actually find anybody else. They have no counter vision, and so this Nature's Guise will allow everybody to be able to walk away. Zai just kind of chilling out on top of Wings.
They're looking for the Alchemist. He still had his Radiance on before he went Invis, and
oh, if Alchemist pops out,
they know the creeps are burning.
Yeah, they know he's around here. They've pinged him out, but the disruption and maybe trap going to be set by EG. They lay out the unstable concoction, but Faith Beyond is well out of danger. And Evil Geniuses not wanting to make a commitment without their Lifestealer.
No Serpent Wards up for this particular engagement, and this seems like a somewhat of a risky push, but they do have the Aegis onto the Invoker. No Omni Slash either on the Juggernaut.
Tier 2 dropping fast. Evil Geniuses, if they want to be able to defend it, they're going to have to form something now. Looks like they're just going to give it up. Maybe not. Glyph and Living Armor will help it out. EG start posturing forward, testing whether or not Wings want to try and force this Tier 2 tower down before the Living Armor really gives it its heal.
Ideally, you want to kill Shadow. Shadow does not have the Aegis, and he's at half HP. If you can get a Blink Crush on him, that would be the perfect way to start off the fight. But Healing Ward's down, might back off and wait for that cooldown. The Observer Ward behind the T2 tower and on the dire neutrals might be enough for them to set up a potential gank.
Back to farming it is for Wings, as they're going to go ahead and team clear.
Who stacked
through an Ancient Stack?
I don't even know who stacked that.
That might have been Blink with his Forge Spirits.
Yeah, that's some efficient play right there.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't really have a good hero to be able to do it, but if they could do it as a team, works out pretty nicely during this little bit of a dull period. The Aegis is going to be reclaimed, and maybe Wings aren't ready to get aggressive just yet. They are keeping up pretty well in net worth. Despite facing up against an Alchemist, the net worth is exactly even. They've got 2 heroes above that 10k marker, both Blink as well as Shadow on their Juggernaut, and Invoker have quite amount of farm to be able to work with. Meanwhile, we have Sumail sitting almost at 14k, has the Radiance, has the Boots of Travel, and soon the big split push Alchemist will be online. So Wings need to be able to keep up the pressure. They're going to lay down the Serpent Wards here on the mid-tier 2. Evil Genius is already smoked up looking for their initiation. And they're going to try and wrap around perhaps from behind. Universe is carrying RTZ inside of him right now. Their tier 2 is about to be dropped by Serpent Wards. Nobody really wants to come forward, so instead they just deny. But actually, they get the jump. They already managed to get Blink. The voice tap comes out from Faith Beyond, but it's not going to be enough. Crit is going to be dropped on by a Meteor. Just almost saves himself with a disruption. Not quite there. Still, though, as support goes down in exchange for the 2 cores of Wings, Wings get the tier 2 tower and will manage to get everyone else out to safety.
They didn't have sentries on that north side, so they were all just under nature's guise. And that was a good 30 seconds after the H expired, and this is part of Tree. Like, if Tree weren't there, they would have just been in and out within 5-10 seconds. But because the Tree was there, they had to stay around way longer just to make sure that the tower was going to go down. And finally, a big fight going EEG's way.
You've seen the way that the Serpent Wards worked. It seemed like Wings would be able to get a pretty decent positioning for any initiation just because they can sit back and let the wards do the work. But as you said, no counter ward being placed on that left side.
And now Zai has a gem on him.
All right. Well, that's definitely a great pickup because at this point in time, you need to stop as much of the aggressive vision of Wings. Make it so that your Alchemist still feels comfortable farming away. Who happens to have an Arcane Root in his bottle, so that'll speed things along for his Chemical Rages. And if he gets the Manta, we'll see the beginning of that Naga-esque split push that Alchemist is so famed for at this point.
With the Arcane Rune on top, it's going to be especially dirty.
Yeah.
And another thing that Gem does is it allows his teammates to move forward with the Aether's Guide, because that's been the most key spell, I would say, for them to start off these engagements. Both the one on the bottom lane where they ganked the Ice, and then the middle T2 where they started off on the Invoker. So Wings have to consider about how to deal with this Nature's Guys. They have Sentry Wards on 3 heroes right now: Clock, Ice, and Innocence.
Somewhere on the 2nd floor here at this beautiful theater, PBD is looking down on Zai and smiling. 6 to 10, 22 minutes in right now, a 2,000 net worth lead for Evil Geniuses, but that's not much by Alchemist stakes. He's about to really get out of control, though. The Manta is up. We're soon going to see, the progression into Octarine, and then the constant TPs, the constant illusion spammed out with Radiance. So Wings got to start picking up the pace a little bit. They've already taken the tier 2 at the top lane, but they committed the Serpent Wards for it. And that means they won't be able to threaten high ground as easily, so Evil Geniuses feel comfortable taking a tier 2 at bottom in exchange.
Or they could turn on their farm game, which probably seems like this seems more likely at this point, judging by the way they played it up until now, just being very patient, waiting for each Mass Serpent Ward cooldown and matching Alchemist farm 1-for-1, hopefully with a Juggernaut. Juggernaut is not that far behind the Alchemist, but still a decent amount. He just picked up his Maelstrom though, so he's probably hoping that will help him catch up in net worth. And I guess it's probably at that point too we need to start talking about the potential ags for Alchemist. It doesn't look like either team's going to break out anytime soon. I guess one is the Treant Protector. I think he's probably, I don't know. Shadow Demon's also pretty important. So either one of those two would be pretty good. Shadow Demon if they think they need more team fight potential, and Treant Protector if they just feel the need to be more elusive around the map.
I mean, considering the initiation is all important for Wings, right? Because they have this clockwork to be able to set up a Sunstrike and just in general be able to find the numbers advantage. Maybe vision is the most important thing here for Evil Geniuses, especially with this gem out. They've already controlled a decent amount. This relatively fresh ward is going to be able to see some of these rotations of EG. Wings are beginning to try and set up around this ancient area, making sure they don't get jumped on at any point in time without recourse.
And I think Wings have to be considering getting a gem right now, but they know if they get a gem right now and they lose it, they just will get crushed in that word. It's already swinging EG's way with 4,000, and a gem would just make their lives absolutely miserable if they lost it. But at the same time, they are kind of getting the life choked out of them as EG take control of the Radiant jungle. They set up 4 Observer Wards around the map. Roshan is up. They have Slark on their team. So a lot of potential opportunities for EG.
Smoke straight into the heroes. They're going to be able to find crit immediately. That's going to be first one, but at the same time, they've already taken a support in a return. Universe and RTZ find their initiation onto the Witch Doctor. Now Samael's going to be coming in full out, unstable concoction, but Universe is going to be caught. Omni-Slash, long range from Shadow is going to be able to rip him apart, and now it's going to be left with just the 3-man of Evil Geniuses. And Samael, he gets snatched up. Eyesight is going to be able to grab him with the shackles, lock him inside with the cog, deafening blast over the top. Clockwork disappears, and now Wings not feeling as comfortable as Samael and RTZ turn and man fight. Maybe Faith Beyond not catching with the cogs the way he intended to.
Yeah, he also doesn't have a blade mail, so he can't really just stand there and tank like you would normally see a Clockwork. And Clockwork's actually perhaps going back for a Midas himself. I see a Gloves of Haste in his inventory, so going for the late game, it seems. That was a really nice tornado by the Invoker. He tornadoed the Alchemist while he was concocting, and then as soon as he dropped, he exploded upon himself. And Wings thought they could take that fight with the superior positioning and the shackles from the fog onto the Alchemist, but just not enough damage at this point to take him down.
Man, that was nasty. You talked about, hey, they don't want to get a gem. Like, there was so much potentially Wings could have gotten out of that smoke, right? Take away the enemy gem, get Roshan themselves, prep for a high ground push. But instead, Evil Geniuses, they keep their gems, they get Roshan for themselves, that Aegis and hold, and Wings are going to have to decide whether or not they want to give more space to an Alchemist who already has so much with the Radiance Manta Octarine all up and good map control on top of that, or do they want to fight into an Aegis?
And they're not getting the kills that they want. Like half of Wings' kills are on crit, and it was no different with that last smoke. They don't want crit. They want Sumail ideally, Arteezy I guess second most, and third most probably the Treant Protector with the gem.
This is Crit's happy space right here. When you've got a full-out Alchemist and you can create yourself some illusions of your own. This is where a support finally starts getting gold. Still, though, it seems are going to try and match far.
Yeah,
They're trying to pick up the hand of Midas. They're trying to keep up with Jug and Invoker.
That early game did not go like quite as well as I expected. I guess their mid game rather. After conceding the Roche, you have to accept that it's going to go much later than you want. You're not going to be able to knock on the T3s or the range racks anytime soon because of the stalling potential of the Octarine Alchemist and the Shadow Demon illusions to match. So you pretty much have an unending supply of Alchemist illusions coming out. They do have the Mjolnir on Juggernaut. Pretty good.
So we've got to talk about it. I mean, at this point in time, they didn't manage to get second Roshan. It doesn't seem like Wings is going to be able to go for the endgame scenario anytime soon. So we're beginning to see a full top-down Alchemist. We're beginning to see a pretty farmed Lifestealer who kind of, you could say, reaches a peak in the mid-game, later mid-game as well. Do you think Wings could actually stall out and potentially take late game against an Alchemist, a Lifestealer, and a Slardar with a Nature's Prophet? Or a Treant Protector on top of everything else.
Right now, I don't think they have a choice. Like, what's their better option? Shove up high ground, potentially lose 5, and then just lose the game. I think that's a much higher probability happening rather than taking it late. So they might not be the most comfortable in their late game, but it's definitely the best option that they have, and they definitely are gearing up for it. So they want Clockwork to get more items with the Hand of Midas, maybe like a Scythe looking, 50 plus minutes in the game, maybe a Ghost Scepter in the meantime, maybe some armor to help his team out. Vlad's would even be pretty useful for them. Juggernaut, he has his farming item too. They have the Midas on the Invoker, and Shadow Shaman can do a decent amount of work on his own. I'm not sure what Shadow Shaman want to get. Maybe like Scepter, I suppose, would be pretty good for him. And it also depends on whether or not EG can actually split up their farm, because you mentioned Alchemist like getting very, very fat, but he only has really 2 good Scepter carriers. Slardar doesn't have an Axe upgrade. Lifestealer, his upgrade is probably amongst the worst in the game, at least in this scenario. So
You say that now, Ben.
What's he gonna do?
Just you wait.
Have the Alchemist inside of him. Free Radiance.
Could be. We have no idea. Maybe we'll see a farm farmed up Alchemist inside a Lifestealer, inside of a Black Dragon. I don't know, it's 30 minutes. They're going to push down one of the last remaining, or in fact the last remaining Tier 1 tower that's at the top lane. Looks like they're just going to keep on going. Wings, they're going to formulate a defense here. It seems like it. They're beginning to rotate Shadow from the mid lane. Across here, a pushback of the Tornado from Blink will manage to keep some of that damage at bay.
And Alchemist illusions are scouting out to see where the supports are. Alchemist, there's just illusions running everywhere, and it will stop Blink daggers. It could potentially stop a hookshot. It will at least scout out the Clockwork so that they'll know which angle he's coming from, and if nothing else, whittle them down so that they're easier to kill in a later team fight. And they aren't even fighting heroes right now, just illusions constantly, and there's just no great way for them to kill them.
So in which case, if Wings, they're not down to fight, what are we thinking? What is the remaining items for Evil Geniuses to pick up before they want to go high ground? Because they just kind of topped out on the Alchemist. He's got the Shivas. He can start
about the
switching.
picks.
Yeah?
It's about they need kills on heroes, because Alchemist is like pretty decent at pushing up high ground, but I think with a Clockwork in the game, it makes it infinitely harder, because you can get isolated from a team, you can get like hookshot and then cog backwards into the team. You can also isolate him from the rest of his team. So like you can't just siege with the Alchemist as his hero, and then the Alchemist illusions, they don't do that much damage to towers. So if you do that, it's just going to be a very, very slow siege, and then the BOT Invoker as well as the Shadow Shaman can apply pressure to the side lanes so that you won't be able to keep that up forever. So they need to wait for Wings to make a mistake, and Wings need to wait for later and later game so that Alchemist is kind of topped out, and after he gives 2 Ags, then what's going to happen for him? BOT2s, Moonshard, those are all marginal upgrades, and then maybe switching out for like a refresher here and there, but he is kind of 6-slotted, can replace his armlet for something else that's also just a side grade for him. So the net worth looks really nasty if you're looking at it from Wings' point of view, 11,000 in favor of the Alchemist, but as of this point, it's going to be...
There's the initiation. Lincoln's is up on Blink. That's going to be able to slow down some of this. They managed to get the cogs separating Arteezy from Blink, and he's going to be able to get some stuns out. Zai is immediately blown up thanks to the help of the Shadow Shaman as he tried to come across for the Overgrowth. Sumail's going to be able to come forward, slow down these heroes. Nice 2-man crush out from Universe. That slows down Shadow's retreat, but they can't quite keep up with him. Maybe it's going to be Innocence who dies instead. Arteezy's rage not going to be wearing out too quickly. He goes in fist, finishes off the kill, and it looks like Ice is also going to be caught here. The amplified damage, it gets ripped apart by Evil Geniuses, and there is only one buyback here on the Clockwork, so Wings may just have to give up a lane of Brax, if not more.
And maybe the Alchemist or the Invoker can stall them out with a barrage of tornadoes and EMPs and ice walls, and they will actually not be able to take a lane of Rax off the back of 3 kills, and that Lincoln's really saving the Invoker as well as the 4 stabs from his teammates.
Yeah, great item choice, and he just picked it up a minute earlier too. So it cost them a buyback out of Faith Beyond, but he's kind of playing off that hand of Midas anyway. It's not like Clockwork is a hero that is desperate in the need for items. He's still going to be an effective hero with just that 4 staff.
And I think this period in the game is where EG is the strongest. They need to get some structural damage done, and T3 I don't think is enough. Maybe with the next Aegis they can actually break some racks, but I think like every point of gold for Alchemist from here on out is probably like 0.3, 0.4 of 1 gold in terms of how effective it is for him.
All right, well, first giveaway here. Crit patiently waiting along. But
yeah, they could have killed the Juggernaut last fight, let's say, if they had the Shadow Demon Ags. So I think he's definitely a worthy candidate, if not the most worthy candidate for the Ags.
All right, so the beginning of Eyes in the Forest. Get that aggressive vision down. I mean, they already have some good wards they're going to be able to see thanks to some of these laning wards. Well, one of them's probably about to die here, but they are seeing the rotations of Wings just with wards. Now it's going to be so much harder for Wings to be able to push out into EG without being already seen and spotted out, and defenses set up by EG with these Eyes of the Forest just permeating the whole entire map.
Yeah, and anytime any hero is alone, Lifestealer, Infest Bomb, that hero's dead. I guess maybe Invoker can survive a Juggernaut if he has really fast fingers, but anyone else I think is just going to be dead.
I think the really important thing is that you routinely pointed out, hey, the Alchemist, he's going to start topping out. What you know, all that extra gold, like what's it really going to do for you? It's so important that the Lifestealer gets progression in his farm. And despite having to sit inside Universe half the time with these Infest ganks and everything, he still managed to get to a pretty decent peak here. He's got an AC, a Desolator, an Armlet, and he has the Vanguard now, which is going to be going for that Abyssal Blade, which will give him some serious lockdown power and just be able to eat one hero on the onset of a fight. Now he's got an Aegis as well. Seems like Evil Geniuses, their real big peak is about to be now. The Overgrowth goes down, but
I don't know if Wings have enough to stop this impending fight. The Lifestealer is closing in on Abyssal Blade. There is Ags number 2 on the Shadow Demon to deal with the Juggernaut. So Juggernaut's kind of useless in the next fight. You can get off your Omni Slash, but aside from that, you are not moving at all. It's also another tool for them to break the Invoker's Lincolns. Like, who cares if you expand a charge of the Demonic Purge? No big deal. And they also do not have enough side lane presence to stop this push from coming. So this fight is brewing on the bottom lane. They have one Observer ward up, but I don't think their net worth is going to be enough to stop this. They need to be able to kite as long as possible, or
they have to get
kill
creative, right?
Yeah.
They have to get a little bit creative with how they're going to be able to take this fight and how they're going to be able to split push and force Evil Geniuses back, which is why Ice has been sitting on the trees here for so long, waiting for Blink to push out the lane so they can get some pressure on that top lane. They're going to have to start taking back already. Blink is going to be coming back. He starts leading things off with the Tornado, trying to push EG back, but already on to the actual Raxes. Without Wings doing anything in return. Ice is about to go uphill with his wards, so if Evil Genius is to be able to finish off this lane of Rax, they need to do it now and start getting back. Gas goes out, trying to slow down Sumail. Wings are looking to be able to try and make sure that Evil Geniuses can't actually back out and defend their top lane. Hoping to make a trade of Rax. RT is going to be forced back.
Invoker's
Evil
so good at
Geniuses.
In between the Ice Wall, and then Tornado, and then a Deafening Blast, they actually could not, and he catches out.
He's going to be grabbed up here. There goes an Overgrowth. That's going to be able to stall up some of Wings, and they did manage to keep their ranged Rax alive at the same time top lane.
Cap, we should switch mics.
We might. Hello. Might just have.
AC seems to be the item of choice for the Alchemist, so now he's sitting at 39 armor as EG go for round number 2. There are no Mass Serpent wards up, nor is the top lane in position, and it looks like Wings will either have to fight or concede this lane of Rax. They still have the clip up, however, but EG are rolling down the lane. 2.5 minutes left on Aegis. They should be very happy about this opportunity that they've been granted.
There goes the Slark. Right, he's going to be going on to Universe. There's nothing going to be happening. Back lane, already on the base beyond. He's still in the middle of this fight. Pop out from our base beyond. He's looking for that Death Ward, but the Death Ward is playing in the front right now. Juggernaut going ham right there with little A-Shit. Finally, Universe finished him off, protecting the tree protector, but Sumail is going to be forced back. It seems like he's fully HP as his RTD. They both turn for the Juggernaut, trying to take him out, but they can't actually do it. Thank God. And Crunch Fog dances with the Master Fog, keeping their Rax somehow alive. Evil G start staying back. Melee Rax still at 1,000 HP.
And with that round, the Wings just really don't have that much left. Juggernaut already used his buyback, and they did get rid of the Aegis, but Alchemist seems to be unstoppable at this point, unless he gets Ward Trap at this moment, but Force Staff will push him to safety. Juggernaut kind of left out on his lonesome.
Meanwhile, the Alchemist inside the Conch, man, getting forced out of the Conch. They're going to be slowed down. Passing on to him. 2 damage dealers on to him right now. They just seem to be too damn tanky. Evil Geniuses are forced back once again.
So we're in the process of switching mics. Hopefully it comes up before this next fight, but I don't think it will. Sumail still at the front lines, and the Mass Serpent wards are about to expire. EG still have not gotten this prized melee rack despite several minutes of sieging. How's it going, Cap?
It's going all right, man. All right, new headset, everybody. We're back. I'm sorry. I don't know if I went out on stream. But hello, Theater. I love you guys. Jump in, Universe. Infested up. Arteezy pops out. They actually latch onto nothing there. They're going to try and get Ice instead, but he's sceptered up. There's no physical damage coming out. The Evil Geniuses, they've been caught. Arteezy, he gets the disruption, a temporary reprieve. He's going to be force stabbed out of the cogs, but Samael, he's trying to create something. Universe goes in big time with a crush. Samael turns, but it's just not enough. The Omni Slash, it finishes up Universe and EG. They're lacking an off-laner now as they go forward for this push. So many heroes of Wings are low, but Arteezy, he's trying to dare Wings to go onto him, and without the rage, they might just oblige. They're moving forward. Ice turns, sees Samael instead, but they've been taken out by the Shivas. Everybody's so low from Wings. The damage over time from EG is too much to handle. Arteezy dies. He gets zapped out by the shock. The Mail is still good, and he's going to be able to regen up, particularly with that living armor. They are good, but Wings inevitably will be holding on to this melee Rax. EG are trying to force it so badly, but Wings, they stand strong for now against the boys in blue.
What amazing usage of Force Staffs, Ghost Scepters, everything that they had just to hold that Rex, and alive it stands at the end of the day. 750 HP, but that was their toughest test, I would say, this game. I mean, it could get a lot rougher, but that's the one that you're most scared of. The push with the Aegis, the 2 Scepters recently come out, all of this net worth on Alchemist, and the buyback on the Jug, that was the most crucial one. And Shadow played it very, very well to stay alive through that fight because Crit was just eyeing him with the demonic purges constantly waiting for him. But they got too much damage on the Lifestealer, and without the Lifestealer, they can't actually kill the Juggernaut during the spin.
Samael had so much gold. Did you see him? He was rocking like 9k gold. He's like, Blade? Yeah, sure, that's not a problem. I can go ahead and pick that one up, pull up, still have buyback gold to be able to work around with.
But now they just have an AC in the bank. I think he had AC before, and now Lifestealer has it, so they just, kind of have to suck the gold.
Didn't he trade out the armlet? I think that was the replacement.
He had armlet, then he traded out for AC, and then now he traded out for Blade.
All right.
So that's a lot of... you never really want to sell anything more than like 2,000 gold. But when you're an Alchemist, you have no choice. You gotta beef it up.
I mean, Arteezy still needs an Abyssal Blade of his own.
Smoke coming in, Crit.
Ice looking to make that initiation, but he can't quite get it. The range is too fast, and now Ice in some serious trouble, and a mid-post shot. Arteezy pops out. Hello, gonna be able to take out that support, but unfortunately the cold snap. Oh no, of course now, it actually saves it and puts him right on top of the support. Gobbles him down and backs away. The rest of Evil Geniuses start surging forward. I say surge, but it's a snail's pace as that ice wall keeps them from being able to come forward. Faceless gonna be the hero caught, it seems. Blink doesn't even blink, he just keeps on running. He knows his supports are all gone, as is his offlaner. No buyback there for 2 of them. The Witch Doctor can buy back if he wants to, but it's just for a melee Rax at bottom lane. Are EG gonna force 2?
Such a botched initiation from Wings, and they just all felt like pins as soon as the Lifestealer got its rage off. And now melee Rax under siege again, and no buybacks on the Clockwork or the Shadow Shaman, but Shadow Shaman's up in just a few seconds. Can Alchemist stall this out?
My goodness, Samael is attacking so slow. But he's hitting relatively hard enough to take down this melee Rax in all due time. Base Beyond still down for 30 seconds. The question is, are EG feeling lucky? Are they going to go for the second high ground? Take that second lane of Rax with only 20 seconds left in the clock.
Invoker still doesn't have his full toolkit to deal all the damage in the team fight with the Refresher Orb. And Clockwork is going to be up at 14, but they're not going to wait for that to happen.
Tornado EMP. Arteezy going to be forced to rage here. And they get some irreparable damage onto the range Rax, but they do call it a day. As Faith Beyond is coming back up, Evil Geniuses resetting their positioning. They're actually going to full out back as Arteezy is going to head on back to, I believe, get his Abyssal Blade.
They have to kill this Invoker. Invoker is the only thing keeping them from touching these buildings. And Shadow can easily be dealt with in between Roots and Demonic Purge. He should easily die, spin or no spin. He'll get his Omni Slash off, but aside from that, he should be dead to rights. But this Invoker is just buying so much time for him. And with the Aug's Ring, their problems are compounding.
I mean, as you said, he doesn't even have not just a refresher, but also that big AoE deafening blast. We're still waiting on that as well. And maybe a Blink Dagger, so this Invoker can still scale so much, but Evil Geniuses seeming will keep up the pressure. They're going to be able to get both an Aegis and Cheese into their hands. I'm not sure who's going to be holding this, though. Lifestealer will go ahead and pick up the Aegis. Cheese going to be grabbed by Crit for now, ready to pass it off when needed.
This next fight could be another big one, and Alchemist might throw his life and try and buy back, because that's a pretty good use of gold that they have, so maybe save one of your Midases for that. I think that could actually be a pretty big play in the team fight if they can stop him from TPing in. I guess he could just buy BT2s, but I'm not sure if he has enough for that and dying and buyback at the same time. But looks like they'll just be spreading around the map. I see a lot of red leaves on the map and a lot of Alchemist illusions heading towards the Radiant base.
Go ahead, take a look at that EG vision. You're going to be feeling real comfortable if you're Evil Geniuses, knowing that Wings are just never likely to be able to push out, not only with this constant pressure at mid lane revealing heroes, but all this vision based around various jungle spots where those eyes are laid out. Fresh BKB for Universe means he's going to have likely a much higher impact in these lanes. Oh, bunch of tomes.
He needs level 22. He skilled max Exor, so he actually does not have it at level 21. And I don't think he's going to get 22 before this next fight, even with the 8 of a Midas. Yeah, I don't think that's enough to make up that almost 1,000 experience gap.
We'll see if maybe Wings can get the right kind of initiation. Maybe they can actually get the first pick. 900 experience needed for Blink at this point, a little bit less now. EG start setting up. They know they've got this this big old tier 3 tower. They can go ahead and start chipping it away with these illusions. They don't necessarily need to make any huge commitment. They're actually looking towards that range racks as well. Anytime they try and defend the range racks, get some damage on the tier 3, but now the jump forward comes forward. They're actually going to Pudge, push him out of the wards. Unfortunate as there is Juggernaut, he just gets exploded, and all of a sudden ET is just going to be able to come forward and take out somebody of these heroes. Both of wards going to be caught easily with the crush. All of their hopes lay on the Invoker now, but there's nothing he can do without the damage. Evil Geniuses, Swift comes through and takes this game 1. Wings with nothing they can do but watch their racks explode, and inevitably they're ancient.
Universe, as steady as always, getting that crush on the end onto Shadow. Shadow, he went full tanky with this build, but just not enough. There was so much minus armor on the side of EG that if he just makes one mistake like he did right then, he's just gonna die.
Wings, they tried to go ahead and shut down the Alchemist farm or match it with their 2 cores, but it seems like the efficiency of Evil Geniuses does play out in this game number 1. Merlini, your thoughts after this game 1? It was a long one. Wings, they had some botched initiations. They seemed a little shaky at